The Canon FD 28mm F2.8 is an extremely affordable lens that you can grab for less than $100. Canon has made several versions of this lens since this one came out, recently releasing the brand new Canon EF 28mm F2.8 IS USM. This one comes with a few more bells and whistles as well as a much higher price tag. So which one is best for you? Let's take a look. I must admit that I wasn't too excited to try the Canon FD 28mm F2.8. The build quality made it feel cheap since this lens was made almost entirely from plastic. That had me concerned about both its durability and optical quality. I was surprised then that the focus pull was smooth, the aperture ring operates with relative ease, and nothing wiggles on the outer shell. The Canon EF 28mm F2.8 IS USM had me a bit perplexed as well. Since it was a brand new lens, I expected the build quality to be much better despite the fact that it was made mostly from plastic parts. While the automatic focus may work extraordinarily well, that feature didn't concern me much since I prefer working with manual focus lenses, and the manual ring leaves a lot to be desired. There are no hard stops on either end, and it's not very smooth, making it hard to create a pleasing focus pull while shooting video. Standing them up next to each other, it's clear to see that the Canon FD has a much smaller footprint than the Canon EF. It's also much lighter, weighing in at nearly half the weight as the EF version. In fact, the 28mm Canon FD is the second lightest FDN lens that you can buy. This is probably due to the fact that the Canon EF has a lot more underneath the hood than the FD. The IS in its name stands for image stabilization, which is an awesome feature for people who like to shoot handheld. The USM stands for ultrasonic motor, which is a fancy term to describe the speed, accuracy, and noise of the autofocus feature on this lens. Another important thing to note is that the FD is completely manual, which requires a simple passive adapter for about $13. The EF lens is not fully manual and uses an electronic connection to adjust the aperture. This means that you will need to buy a far more expensive active adapter that allows your camera to adjust the aperture. Both lenses are not super sharp wide open, but it seems like the Canon EF seems to beat the FD on this by a smidge. However, at every other stop, the Canon FD appears to be sharper and render color quality better than the Canon EF. This was extremely surprising to me since the FD is about a quarter of the price. The bokeh, however, is a different story. On the FD, it looks busier than on the EF and seems to be a little more distracting. This makes sense since the Canon EF was built with 7 aperture blades as opposed to the FD's 5 blades. If you plan to use this lens primarily to shoot wide shots, then I can't see why bokeh would be much of an issue. Personally, I love the FD 28mm because it packs a lot of punch at such an affordable price. The EF 28mm may be a great lens for photography, but it seems overpriced compared to the FD. Click on the links provided to learn more about these lenses. Product links are included in the description below. And as always, feel free to subscribe and visit filmformat.com for more filmmaking reviews and tutorials from yours truly. Thanks for watching.